Yeah.
So in that regard, the WWE Network has been a value for me just for that alone. Because if I watch no other shows that year, it's usually just WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And it was always a bit of a struggle for me to pay for that and pay my regular bills. But with this, it's a real money saver.
That I agree. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it does save you money, but if you honestly think about it, and when it comes to Survivor Series, you want to feel like you got your money's worth. Like you work hard for a reason. You work hard not only to pay your bills, but to also have a good time what you got. And if you want to watch wrestling, especially a pay per view that costs you about $50, you want to feel like you got your money's worth and don't feel like you've been gypped. And that's the one thing. Before they had the network, it was always like playing roulette. Like you don't know what you were gonna get at the very end. And honestly, I if I see because we got two more Raws before. Actually, no, this week is the go home show. This week is the go home show for Raw. If they're able to pull it out of their butts for a Survivor Series and make it interesting, I might just watch it because tomorrow night is the go home show for Raw, and then Friday night is the go home show for SmackDown. We'll see if they can have a decent build up to that point. I might just consider watching it, but at this point, I don't know because I really don't even know who's performing except for two matches that I really do care about.
Yeah, I agree.
But at this moment,
And what else I was gonna say? Oh, and I was also gonna say too that oh my god. And plus with Survivor Series, another reason I don't have no interest in it is they really, except for WrestleMania, they have really slacked off the build to the pay per views. And I guess I feel sentimental about Survivor Series because this is like big shows. I mean, I guess you could say Four Horsemen of pay per view as far as WWE was WrestleMania, the Survivor Series, the Royal Rumble, and later SummerSlam.
oh my
And
gosh.
and sometimes I feel like I almost wish they would go back to just 4 or 5 pay per views a year.
I mean, I guess
Almost
sorry to
wish they
interrupt you,
because
but I just found out that the matches that we just talked about are the only matches on the freaking card. Seriously, they just got four.
what?
All they have is four matches so far. The go home show's tomorrow, and they just got four. No, wait, they got all they got is three. They got only three matches. Three matches for Survivor
Okay,
Series.
I know this is a Nature Girl video, but I'm gonna have
Oh
to say it.
no,
I'm
dude.
gonna have to
No.
say it.
Save it for no, dude. Save it for your channel. Save it for your channel.
Oh,
They got
okay. I'll
only
give you the
three.
edited version.
Oh,
I'll give you the edited
ain't this
version.
some
Ain't
BS?
some BS.
I don't believe this. They only got three matches
I'm
on the
sorry, that's
card.
BS.
They only got three. The ones that we talked about are the only three. I hope that this is I hope they do something else because they have to throw a few matches in there. It's supposed to be 2 hours. They're gonna throw a few random matches in there. But all they got is
Yeah.
Team Cena versus Team Authority. Okay, so now we know who's. I guess maybe they did this on SmackDown. I guess for Team Cena, you got Dolph Ziggler, Big Show, and Sheamus. So tomorrow night we're gonna find out who the fifth member is gonna be. And I think for Team Authority we got Seth Rollins, Kane, Rusev, and Mark Henry. Then we'll find out who their fifth member is gonna be. So we'll find out tomorrow night who the fifth member is gonna be for the team match. And I can't believe AJ Lee versus Nikki Bella is the only Divas match. And then you got Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt, which is the main event in itself. And I'm hoping it's the main event. I really want that to be the main event because these are two psychotic people that are going at each other's throats. Okay, but now I'm like I'm getting off topic here, but that's just sad.
I guarantee you, all the other matches are going to be random, or they're going to wait till the last minute to book them.
Oh. Here's the worst part. And I was hoping that they didn't do this. But I found out that they confirmed that they were going to do it. And I'm hoping they 86 it for the Survivor Series. And I know you're going to probably want to curse. But we got Adam Rose facing the Bunny at Survivor Series.
Okay. Let me put it this way. Adam Rose versus the Bunny.
Oh, dear.
This is my opinion on this.
Oh, no.
What I would like to see at Survivor Series, I would like to see all the dead Von Erichs, Eddie Guerrero, Brian Pillman, hell, even Chris Benoit.
Oh, no.
Bruiser Brody.
Oh,
Road
no.
Warrior Hawk. All come back from the grave and just beat the hell out of both of them.
I wouldn't go there and say that. I wouldn't go there and say that, but I'm thinking like, dude, where's your brain at? Why? Adam Rose versus the Bunny, is that all y'all got for him? It's bad enough we barely see Adam Rose even wrestle.
Adam Rose.
Oh, gosh.
This way. Adam Rose, I would just walk into the ring while they're wrestling the Bunny. I would just walk into the ring and just straight kick him in the balls.
Oh, gosh.
Push him out the way. And then I would just personally proceed to beat the crap out of the Bunny. I'd be like, look, I know it's PG. I know you have kids and all that, but God.
Oh,
really
dear.
have to insult the intelligence?
No, but if they actually make it worthwhile,
having a guy like him and having a guy like Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was a real wrestler. This Bunny thing is totally ridiculous.
Oh, wow. but I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Yes, the Bunny thing is ridiculous, but if they make it worthwhile for me and reveal that, I don't know, that the Bunny was HBK this whole time, I'll be fine. I'll be fine with that because it's HBK.
All I gotta say is thank God it's on the pre-show.
Yeah. Let's hope it's on the pre-show.
It better be.
You know how the WWE is notorious for changing their minds lately. They changed their mind at the last minute. Hence, WrestleMania 29, how 5 matches got cut. And 3 matches got rearranged to where they barely had enough on the card. All because of Cena's match going over. And I'm not blaming Cena. That happens. It was The Rock versus Cena. That's one of the big juggernaut matches. That's what you gotta expect. So you can't necessarily hate on that. But I will say it sucked how everything got 86 because of it. But that's just because that happens. But as for Survivor Series, I will say that they only got 2 interesting matches on the card. Nobody cares about AJ Lee. Nobody cares about Nikki except for me. AJ Lee was great because of the man on her arm. And also the fact that she looks like she's 12. I'm not going to say that she can't wrestle. The chick can wrestle. But the sad thing is, there wasn't a decent enough build for this championship match, which shows you how much a Divas Championship is worth. It's worth nothing. It's worth nothing. When you don't promote your own champion, it's a paper belt.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe how many men have AJ Lee fantasies too.
Oh gosh, let's not talk about that because that's just illegal.
I'm not.
Let's move on from there because that's just illegal. But the thing is, it makes me sad how we got a champion. We got the only championship match on the freaking card. The only one. There's only one championship match on the card. And nobody cares. That shows how much money you've lost when you've made that ridiculous tramp stamp belt. And yes, the Spash Phoenix did say that. And yes, it's proven to be true that the Divas Championship is a tramp stamp. That's how much worth it has. And if you got a championship match on the card, you're freaking promoted. I don't care if it's the US title. I don't care if it's the IC belt. It's a championship. Promote it, please. But anyway, let's move on from there and let's talk about a completely different brand. Let's talk about TNA because TNA has been pretty much on everybody's chatter list on whether or not it's going to last towards the end of the year.
Yeah, in fact, this week is its final show for the year. All the other shows that'll be shown after that will be taped like best of or something.
Yeah, because I've actually been following Dixie on Twitter, even though I'm not really following Dixie. For some reason, Dixie keeps popping up on my thing. I guess because she's public. She keeps saying that they're like coming close to getting them a new channel. They're gonna be on the air. They keep saying that there's nothing's gonna happen. Blah 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 blah. We all know what's happening. We can kind of tell. I mean, when I actually did watch TNA, I will say that some of the episodes of TNA were worth watching. It's actually pretty much of a breath of fresh air for me. And it makes me sad to know that it's going to come to an end. I'm hoping that somehow it gets picked up. I don't know who would pick it up, but I'm hoping that it will be. Because the WWE is not really in their great prime at the moment. And I will say it's kind of sort of a breath of fresh air to see some things different on TNA. And I'm hoping that it won't be the case they completely drop out and lose, and kind of just disappear. Because that would be really messed up. But what are your thoughts on TNA as a whole?
And you know my opinion on TNA. TNA these days is a beer. First of all, let me make this very clear. Even at WWE's worst, TNA has never been competition to WWE. Never. WWE has never given a crap about TNA. That being said, they are a real big shell of themselves. 2000, because I actually at one point was on a TNA DVD buying kick, and to see what they were from 2004 to 2000, like even 2008 or 9, and see the way they are now, I mean, it's sad, and it's a shame. And really, it was because of two reasons. The X division, which was pretty much almost their version of the cruiserweight division. The X division and their women's division is what, in my opinion, really made them entertaining. WWE. Because at the time they were made, WWE was not putting a lot of emphasis on cruiserweights, nor were they putting a lot of emphasis on the women, frankly. I mean, in my opinion, the women started going down whenever Trish Stratus and Lita retired. I mean, sure, you still had some like Mickie James and Melina and a few others, but at that point, I think TNA had the better women's division. True, and really, it boggles me when people say, "Oh, TNA's women's division is better than the Divas in WWE." I'm like, not really. What? Yeah, they may have better matches, but if you really look at the roster on both of them have actually gone down in quality.
Well, I'm not gonna deny that you have a point when it comes to the quality has declined. I will admit that. But I will say that the Knockouts division does a lot more with the Knockouts than you would with the Divas. The Divas are pretty much just glorified valets. There's only a handful of them that can actually wrestle, but most of them are either meant to be a manager or a valet. That's it. That's all they're used for. And I will say they all have a particular physique. They all kind of have the same body, except for Naomi, which has a body that's ridiculous. But all in all, they all look like models. They don't have real bodies like real women. I will say that the Knockouts look buxom. They look like they eat some stuff. They look like they eat food. So, and not to mention that they're not afraid in putting them in steel cage matches. They're not afraid of putting them in ladder matches. They're not afraid to showcase their talents. That's the one thing I actually do respect about TNA when it comes to the Knockouts division. They're not afraid to put these chicks up, to put them in the same caliber as the dudes. Because we can all admit that Gail Kim versus Taryn Terrell was probably one of the best matches that we have seen at Bound. Was it Bound for Glory or was it Slammiversary? It was one of them. It was either Slammiversary. That was probably Taryn Terrell versus Gail Kim was probably one of the best knockouts matches I've seen in a long time. Seriously, one of the best rivalries that was well built. And I will say they're not afraid of putting them in actual feuds. You can't say the same thing about WWE. They don't do that. And the one thing that breaks my heart about these people leaving is that, good grief, that shows that, man, wrestling is disappearing. Wrestling is dying. Like if TNA is gone
as a whole, yeah,
yeah, and I guess we could probably kind of close off with that. Like we can pretty much kind of talk about the final topic here now that we brought that up. Now that TNA is pretty much kind of confirmed that TNA's last show is going to be this week. Like, what do you think of wrestling as a whole in 2014? Now that TNA is about to go, like, how do you feel? Like, what do you think about it? I really think that it was the worst. It's the worst year in wrestling, like, ever.
yes. I mean, it started off bad. Then around WrestleMania time, it got good, and it was good for a short period after that. But then it kind of went down again until SummerSlam, and then it picked up briefly before and after SummerSlam. But then after that, it's been total doo doo.
Yeah.
After that, and TNA really, to be honest, the only other thing I'll praise them for is the handling of Lashley. I know some will say, "Oh, he wasn't really over with his title reign and stuff," but you know what? I was just happy to see. I was happy. I was like, finally, somebody actually treats a black wrestler like a real athlete instead of the stereotypical shucking and jiving and I know I promised I wouldn't.
No. For real. When it comes to that, be you. I don't care about all that.
Yeah, I was just happy to see a company actually treat a black wrestler like a real athlete, not this coon shucking and jiving stereotypical black wrestler. They actually treated Lashley like the destroyer, like the bad, excuse my language, the badass that he is. Yeah, they built him up correctly. Something WWE kind of failed to do when he was there with them. Although, I mean, I'm not going to go into it, but there was reasons why he left there. And, you know, some of it has to do with his on and off girlfriend or wife. I'm not sure what she is, but a lot of it has to do with Crystal Marshall. But like I said, I'm not going to go into it here. But in TNA, I have to say TNA knew what to do with. They actually got Lashley right.
Yeah. I mean, I will agree. When it comes to TNA, they did him right. Like, they really did a good job in building up Bobby Lashley as a heel. Not to mention they had the entourage of two guys that couldn't get over to save their life. I love MVP, but let's be real. On his own, he will not be able to get over by himself. He's a great mouthpiece and a great wrestler, but he's not enough to build himself up. And also Kenny King is the same thing.
Why did he ever leave Japan? Because from what I understand as well, I know you mentioned this, from what I understand, he was real successful in New Japan.
Yeah,
My only guess is that he missed being home in the U.S.
I don't know why he.
That's my only guess, because he was more over in Japan than he ever was in the U.S.
Yeah, he really was, and that's the one thing I couldn't understand why he came back. It didn't make no sense. It didn't make any sense at all why he came back.
Over in Japan, if you got skill and gets over with the crowd, they don't care who you are. Of course, they're going to push their own Japanese stars. Of course. But if you got skill and stuff, they don't care if you're white or black over there. They'll push you. If you make them money and stuff, they'll push
you. And MVP had the perfect character. He had the perfect character to be a heel, but he had enough finesse to have people like him more. The guy is a great mouthpiece. I will not deny that. He's a great mouthpiece. He's a great person on the mic. He can promote himself without touching a person. The only problem is that alone don't work here. Like, his character is not as larger than life as some of these other characters that are. And even though MVP's character was completely over the top in WWE, the fact what ruined him, in my opinion, is when they made him broke. When they made MVP broke to where he couldn't even afford his pyro, is what ruined him. They practically downgraded him until he was nothing. And when that happened, that ruined his reputation. And I think from there, it probably got really hard to put him over by himself. But that's just me personally. As for Kenny King, nah. Kenny King didn't really, I mean, he has great wrestling skills. He has really great chemistry with the people that he fights. But when it comes to Kenny King, there's only so far Kenny King can go. Like, he's great on the mic for a certain extent, but he's only as good as who he's with. Like, if he's part of an entourage, then he can get over that way. But as for him being by himself, I don't know. I just don't see it, especially when he was X Division champ.
Yeah, and plus, I know originally it was supposed to be MVP to win the title, but then he went down with that knee injury, so they decided to switch to Lashley. That may have been the best thing that could have happened for TNA, in my opinion.
Yeah.
With all due respect to MVP.
Yeah. Because, I mean, even...
And plus, I like the fact that Lashley, he rarely cheated.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, he was a bad guy. You could hate him because of some of his tactics, but you could respect him because he wasn't the chicken coward heel.
Yeah. Just like with Lesnar. Like with Lesnar will beat you, and he will beat you clean. You couldn't cheat to save your life with Brock Lesnar. The same thing with Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley is a black version of Brock Lesnar. Say whatever you want, but that's what's true. The dude is a powerhouse. He is stacked to no end. Like, the man is a beast. You can't beat him without cheating. And even if you cheated, you will only win by the skin of your nose. That's what made Bobby Lashley great. The guy is a beast. Not only that, they built him up to be such a great heel to where he is so good he is hated. I love that. I really did. And it's going to make me sad when that show goes off the air because I really can't. But Bobby Lashley still has his MMA career. So I think he'll be fine even when it ends.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
Yeah, he'll be all right. I don't know about everybody else. Like, everybody else, everyone say, oh, they're going to go with WWE. Vince is not a forgiving man.
Pretty much said. I mean, granted,
no.
Never say never. But WWE has pretty much said they're not interested in anyone from TNA.
No, especially after that lawsuit. I do not see anybody from TNA going over to WWE unless they have enough charisma and enough and their enough representation for their character to be put over there. I can honestly see a possibility. I can see Austin Aries and Bobby Roode going over there, but I don't see nobody else. I don't. Definitely not Kenny King.
They're the only two.
Yeah, they're the only two.
I could see name right off that they would maybe, if they changed their mind on anybody from TNA, they're the only two that I could see maybe them changing their minds on. Yeah. Especially Aries.
Yeah. I see Aries heading over there. I see Rude. I don't see Storm. I don't see James Storm going over there because James Storm would just be a really extreme cowboy redneck version. Well, he is a redneck, but either or, he's going to be an extreme cowboy version of Stone Cold Steve Austin, and people are going to pretty much see him as a ripoff. So I really don't see him going over there either. I don't see none of the knockouts going over there, especially Velvet Sky. I don't see Velvet Sky or Angelina Love going over there at all because they're in PG mode. And we all know about Velvet Sky and Angelina Love. We know about the beautiful people. We know about their entrance.
Anyway.
Man, they dress like they're straight up strippers. Not to mention that their entrance alone. No. There's no freaking way. Like, seriously, no way. They'll be wearing pants daily.
Yeah.
Not
I mean,
to mention
really,
no
there's nobody on
upskirt
the
shots.
Knockouts roster I could see going. I mean, forget Gail Kim. She's been there twice.
Yeah.
And second time around, she really pissed them off. So, no chance of her going back. Brooke Tessmacher, maybe, but I doubt it.
No.
Definitely not the beautiful people.
No.
I don't see them doing anything with Madison Rayne.
Definitely no. The Killer Queen gimmick is already long since dead, and she's milked that up to no end. So I don't see that ever happening. But
yeah,
I don't see any of the knockouts going over there.
Taryn Terrell, but based on that past trouble with her and Drew McIntyre,
yeah,
granted McIntyre isn't there now, but based on that past trouble, they may not mess with her.
No, she's not coming back. She's not. She's not coming back at all. And not to mention that she would more likely want to be a whole authority figure like she was when she was the GM of SmackDown. I don't really see her going up to be a diva because I don't see that happening. I don't think anybody from the Knockouts roster will be there unless they were at WWE before. And we know that Mickie James no longer there. She's a mama, she's a country star, and she's married, so she ain't.
Yeah, although there have been rumors she has talked with him about coming back somewhere down the road.
It's rumors. She just had a baby.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
It ain't gonna be right now.
No, I doubt it.
She just had a baby with Magnus, so that's not gonna happen.
And funny thing about that is that Karma, like we thought that we were gonna see Awesome Kong or Karma come back. Karma hasn't been invited back at all. I'm like, why? She was the only monster diva that they had. That was a general threat. And she has not been invited back. And I guess because of maybe the spectacle that was in the middle of the ring that confused the ever loving crap out of everybody. Like it confused everybody of what happened. And I guess that's probably why she's not coming back.
There's no chance of both. I'd say the majority of the TNA knockout roster would have no chance of getting it in WWE right now. I couldn't even see him putting them even on NXT.
I couldn't see him on ROH.
There's a better chance of Mickie James or the ones that are rumored that they've been talking to about coming back.
Yeah.
There's a better chance of Mickie James, Eve or Beth Phoenix coming back than any of the TNA Knockouts roster ever going there.
Yeah, that's true. I really don't see that happening, and that's kind of messed up because half the roster won't be able to
talking.
It's like they're not going to be able to even be in the big time. Not after leaving here, I can't see it happening. Like, I mean, shoot.
I mean, there's a better chance of WWE getting Lita or Trish Stratus or any past WWE. Well, that's not named Gail Kim. Any past WWE, WWF female wrestler to come back. There's a better chance of that.
Because they're in talks with Kurt Angle.
TNA roster
like right now, they're in talks with Kurt Angle. There was like, I actually saw in a wrestling report that they're saying that they were in talks with Kurt Angle coming back for it's a possibility that he may be in WrestleMania 31. Either 31 or 32. It's a possibility that they may have Kurt Angle come back. A possibility. It's just a rumor. It hasn't been confirmed, but they're saying that they could be in talks of having Kurt Angle come back. So he has a bigger shot. Sting's already there. You know how I feel about Sting, so let's move on from there. But yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and rant about Sting. You know how I personally feel about Sting. Y'all already know how I feel about it. It's no point in spending 2 hours on him. So let's just talk about 2014. We got 2 more months before this year is officially over. How is wrestling as a whole, in your opinion?
Not in very good shape. I think for the most part, unless things continue to go downward spiral, WWE may be okay. I don't have a lot of hope for TNA. I hope I'm wrong. ROH, I think, will be all right. I've really got high hopes for Lucha Underground. To me, if you want a real alternative to WWE right now and you can't get ROH, I would recommend Lucha Underground if you can get a hold of that, because the wrestling on that has been okay to even incredible. And I even said this on a couple of my videos. I was like, isn't it amazing that these guys could actually write better storylines than WWE or TNA right now? And all they have is an hour show. And I get more engaged with the backstage stuff that they write. Like they did this real good one with John Morrison. Well, he's called Johnny Mundo down there. They did this real good one between him and the owner of Lucha Underground. Then they did this real good one between Conan and Chavo Guerrero.
I've heard a lot of good things about Lucha Underground. I might just watch that. I haven't. I think I had a few links sent to me, but I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch them. I might just do it.
Oh yeah, you'll be this past Wednesday. Oh my God, the back. Oh, the main event was incredible, man. I mean, they pulled out, and I've been watching wrestling since 1985. I said almost. Let's see,
yeah, it's been a minute.
Almost 30 years. Almost 30 years, and I thought I've seen just about everything. They were pulling out moves I've never even seen. Okay. And I've been watching wrestling for 30 years. It was like a three-way dance between these three top AAA guys. Oh my God. It was amazing.
Okay, definitely. Now you kind of got me into it. I might just go see it.
From a storytelling perspective, but from a spot fest match quality perspective, oh my God.
I might just go see. I might just watch that because I think I have a few links that were sent to me. I might just sit down and watch that.
That match is actually on YouTube.
Oh,
if
nice.
They haven't taken it down yet. That match is actually on YouTube.
I know on YouTube they might have taken it down, but yeah, I'm gonna definitely check that out. I'm hoping it's still up there, but we'll see. But I mean, it's kind of messed up how now that TNA is gone, we don't have any more mainstream wrestling anymore, except for, I guess people could probably say, oh, the WWE, you know, they're still on TV. I'm like, yeah, they are, but the quality's gone down because they got no competition. And going back and looking at the Monday Night Wars, and as great as that being in the midst of history, it's just that there were so many mistakes that were made. Like, if it wasn't just for the fact that they wanted to just beat the WWE in the wars and they just continue having quality content, then who knows? The Attitude Era will probably be extended. Who knows? But it's like now that the WWE has crushed everybody in their wake, it's just has gone down so bad. Not to mention that going back and watching some of these old shows, whether it's on YouTube, Hulu, the network, wherever, you honestly see that they got some decent bills and they have closure. You don't see closure anymore. You see feuds being meshed together with feuds and other feuds and other feuds in one big fusion. Like, they don't close anything off, and it just gets all completely just crazy and out of order, and the content is just bad. And I really feel that if they had competition, things would be different. But now that TNA is going to be no more within a week, it just makes me sad. It really does. Like, what would the future, like, what would you look forward to watching wrestling now? Besides Lucha Underground, which sounds really awesome, it's just that there's no more mainstream shows. You're gonna have to watch on the internet, I guess. You know, it makes me sad that there's no more mainstream shows that are good enough to watch, and you have to literally have a laptop and an internet to watch something decent. You have any more closing thoughts about that topic?
Yeah, 2014. I hope I'm wrong, but it doesn't look good. like I said, WWE I expect to still be around unless something major happens. TNA, I hope I'm wrong on them, but I don't expect them to survive. Lucha Underground, I have high hopes for. ROH, I think will be okay,
Yeah,
but
but as a whole, it just sucks.
yeah, it does. And really, WWE is making a lot of the same mistakes that WCW did. That TNA really, for the most part, did.
But I guess the only difference
And
is
that,
that they're an international brand. So even if they do pull out crap, people are still gonna watch them out of sheer tradition. And I'm guilty of being one of them. So I really can't talk about anybody else that does that.
yeah, I am too. Although
Yeah.
I haven't watched them regularly lately. I have not watched them regularly lately. I will say this though. I, People compare WCW to TNA. Well, there's the one big difference. Even when WCW was dying, they still was pulling like 2.8, 3.0s. I don't think TNA has ever even had a 2.0.
I think that I don't think they did either. I think they came close in the mid 2000s, but it's because of the quality of the presentation looked cheap. Like, I'm sorry. The overall
Mm-hmm.
presentation of the show looked cheap. It didn't look larger than life. It looked like something that somebody did in their mom's basement. No offense to John. I know that's his catchphrase. But it looks like it's something that was just thrown together at the last minute. The presentation looks cheesy. Looks cheesy and poorly done. And while the WWE is in HD, they have pyro, everything looks larger than life, but TNA doesn't. It just don't look that way, and they don't have to be in a major stadium to not look larger than life. But they're not even in HD, so it's just a poor quality in my opinion. That's just how it is, and plus people are used to watching WWE in HD, so and it's just better quality on your TV screen while TNA isn't. But for my overall thoughts personally for 2014 is that 2014 was the worst year of wrestling. Not only did we lose a lot of great legends that passed away, we also had like the quality of overall as a whole for the wrestling business has gone down. And it's to the point where not even anything extreme could bring it back. And now we've even gone back to having
Yeah,
guest people.
2014.
It's just bad. Like
2014
2014 as a
just
whole
as a
is bad.
whole was just a bad year.
Yeah, it was a really bad year for wrestling
2014 was
fans.
just a bad year, except for a few moments. And
Yeah,
yeah, you mentioned death of wrestlers. Of course, we had Sean O'Hare. We had several other
we
wrestlers. Of
had
course,
Warrior.
the biggest one was the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, yeah. The biggest one indeed was the Ultimate Warrior, especially seeing him for the last time on this earth on Raw, and then all of a sudden you hear a few hours later that he
Yeah,
passed away.
and I'm not as I'm not as relig- I'm not as religious as let's say you are,
Well, I'm
but
not religious at all.
I learned this, and I even asked my own stepdad with this. I asked my own stepfather this because he doesn't watch professional wrestling regularly, but he knows of some of the stars, and one of them was the Ultimate Warrior. He asked me, "You hear about that Warrior man from back in the day dying, Irvin?" I was like, "Yeah." And then I told him about the speech he made on Monday Night Raw, and I said, "Do you think he knew he was gonna die?" Because when you go back and listen to it now,
hmm Yeah, I kind of agree when it
part of
comes
me
to
was
that.
like,
It's difficult not to agree, but then it's also kind of hard to agree because you really don't know. And it was a really tough time for a lot of wrestling fans that really did like his character and who he stood for. And not to mention, with him passing, you also have to deal with a lot of people getting cut. A lot of your favorite wrestlers getting cut, a lot of people leaving. Uh, and it's just a lot of ridiculousness that just happened. CM Punk just completely dipping out and not coming back. Then you end up having, that was beforehand. Then you end up having Daniel Bryan pretty much one of the great building stories that has ever happened in WWE history besides Austin Aries. Well, it wasn't WWE, but Austin Aries had probably one of the most natural builds I have seen in a long time. And Daniel Bryan was the best success story in WWE history. The fact that he ended WrestleMania 30, the one of the most depressing the WrestleManias that there was, with the streak ending, for a lot of people that remember the streak, it was really disappointing and very heartbreaking for them. Having a success story
Yeah,
of
which is
Daniel Bryan coming up out of nowhere like a phoenix rising from the ashes, literally winning and grabbing the brass ring at the biggest show of them all, only to get injured by the authority and be gone and may not come back. So it has
yeah,
been a very
which
hard
is
time for wrestling fans, and I'm hoping, and I'm gonna be very, I'm gonna be very, positive about this. I'm hoping that next year will be different. I'm hoping that next year will be different. I'm hoping that somehow they'll try to rebuild new stars. I'm hoping that some of the old stars will step back and step out and allow the future to come in. I'm hoping that
yeah,
whoever is writing the storyline
and
now
on
is
a side
gone.
about Daniel Bryan. On a side note, if he does come back, I really hope he takes care of him. I hope he goes more to his more submission style, more strong style, where he still uses some high impact, but he's more ground based. I know that might be more, but it'll protect himself from further injury. I hope if he doesn't cut out the diving headbutt completely, I hope he just uses it on rare occasions. I don't. I mean, I really like Daniel Bryan. I liked him when he was Bryan Danielson in ROH, and I don't want to see him end up like Chris Benoit or some of these others that have problems outside. I mean, I want to see in the ring, but I want to see the man healthy outside the ring and live a healthy life with his wife.
Yeah, I
You
think
know, I don't
everybody
want to
wants
see
to see
another
that.
Benoit incident.
No, I
And the
don't think.
reason I say Benoit is because their styles are so alike. I mean, it's almost scary.
Yeah, they
It's
do.
almost scary. Their styles are so alike. It's scary.
They do have
And
similar
especially when they
styles. I
said
will
he had
agree
all these
there.
neck and arm injuries, I'm like, oh my god, I hope that doesn't happen.
I
Like,
don't think it's gonna be like another Benoit. I'm gonna say that right now. I don't think it's gonna be like another Benoit. He's been out for a long time now. He's trying to heal. I think he's had his surgery. I'm not sure if he had it or not, but I'm just gonna be hopeful here. He's actually on the He's actually on the WrestleMania 31 marquee. I'm not marquee. He's actually on the He's actually on the WrestleMania 31 logo, so there could be a chance that he might come back. I'm gonna be hopeful for that. I don't think he's gonna end up being like Chris Benoit, but I am trying to be more hopeful, and really, I really do believe, and I'm hoping that next year will be different for wrestling fans, especially WrestleMania 31. Now that the streak is over, these people have to start from scratch. They have to be more original. They have to come up with actual good matches, which shows me that they're going to be a lot more original and open for change. And if that's the case, then I think they're going to go far. But right now,
yeah, and I hope,
go ahead, man. For your closure, you can go ahead.
and I hope, concerning our favorite subject, John Cena,
Oh boy.
I really hope they don't necessarily. I'm not one of these fans that say turn him heel, turn him heel. No, but I hope if they insist on keeping him near the spot, they update his character.
Don't hold your breath, bruh, because you'll be holding it for a
Yeah,
long
but
time.
I doubt it because they're so stubborn. And from what I heard, Cena himself is so stubborn.
Well, all I know is that it will not change your integrity if you upgrade your character. It won't. You'll still be who you are behind the scenes, and that's what the important thing is. But as for your character, and if people are tired of seeing the same Superman superhero thing, don't you don't have to sugarcoat everything. You don't have to put rosy colored glasses on our eyes for us not to see what you're going through. The thing is, we can't relate what John Cena goes through when he hears the booze. We can't relate what he goes through when people talk about him. We don't know. But I will say this. People are tired of Cena being a superhero. They're tired of it. We want to see you as a human being. We want to see you break. We want to see you break down and build yourself up. We want to see you as a man. That's all we want. We don't want to see this ridiculous cookie cutter cheesiness that was back in the 80s about all these superheroes, including Hogan. And going back and looking at it, yes, Hogan was the ultimate man of cheese. But it was the 80s and it fit in with that. We're in 2014. Times are rough. Times are hard. We want to see people like us being built up and brought people who are brought down being built up, not being built up for 5 seconds and staying there.
That's why people got so behind Daniel Bryan.
Exactly. Daniel Bryan was the man of all men. The guy got beat up, but he somehow reached the brass ring at WrestleMania 30. That made a lot of people happy in the most somberest of somber times, with the loss, with the Ultimate Warrior pretty much going in retirement for the end of the streak. Honestly, it was a really somber time for wrestling fans. But then seeing somebody like Daniel Bryan coming up after all the hardships that was thrown at him to finally reach the brass ring at WrestleMania 30 made people happy. That's all we ask. We don't hate you for the fact of it being you. We just hate your character. We don't like your character. We don't like what your character represents, because we want your character to stay true to who you are. If you fall and you want to be brought up, bring yourself up. Don't try to cover it up. Be real. That's all we want. Speaking for myself, that is. I just want John Cena to act like a real man. I want John Cena to break and bleed like anybody else. You don't have to cover anything up for us. Just be yourself. Just be real. Be a human, not a robot. That's all that I want personally.
And plus, I would also tell John Cena, if I could tell him, I'd be like, dude, you know some of the greatest characters in wrestling? Yeah, the Hogan Warrior, the superhero thing, okay.
Dusty Rhodes
that
for me.
Back in the 80s, early 90s.
Dusty Rhodes.
But the greatest characters in pro wrestling were the guys that were extensions of who they really were.
Mm-hmm.
Ric Flair, a lot of what you saw on TV, that's who he really was.
Dusty Rhodes, that's who you saw who he really was.
The Rock, that's who he really is.
Mm-hmm.
Stone Cold, that's who he really is. Triple H, that's who he really was. Shawn Michaels, that's who he really was. That's why those guys were so over. And so believable extensions of who they really are in real life.
That's pretty much all we want. Because honestly, after seeing the Dr. Thugonomics gimmick, which is one of my favorite gimmicks that Cena's ever done, because it was fun. It was fun. It was lively. It was corny as all get out. But the dude had flow, and you can let that go. Like, it was fun seeing John Cena do that.
Yeah,
but now
that's what many fans said. That's what I've heard many fans say. They said the Doctor of Thugonomics versus the Superman gimmick. They were both cheesy and corny, but the difference was the Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick was entertaining at least.
I mean, it was fun, and I missed that. I really missed that. I miss how fun it was.
And it felt more genuine in that gimmick too.
Exactly, and not to mention that we saw the Stacker 2 commercials where John Cena was rapping. We know the dude's got flow. They call him the wrestling version of Vanilla Ice, but it don't even matter. The dude got some skills. Not to mention that it was fun to watch him do it. And it was fun that he had a crush on Stephanie and smacked her butt. It was kind of funny to see that. But it's like, he had a lot more fun, in my opinion, being the Dr. of Thugonomics than being the stiff, somewhat cold person. Like, he comes off as cold.
When he busted on the late Eddie Guerrero. But right before their little street fight.
Yeah.
Eddie Guerrero wants to challenge me to a street fight. He says he's going to butcher me. He can't even beat his meat right. I'm going to rock him and suck him, y'all. And he said some other stuff. The line I definitely remembered, and I was like, oh, God. I mean, it was heelish, but it was like funny to me. Because I'm a little bit into dirty comedy anyway. He's like, I'm like a Jedi Knight. I was the stunt double for Anakin. I fight with my lightsaber. His is for backdoor shenanigans. I was like,
I
ooh.
remember that. I was like shenanigans, but it doesn't even matter because it was fun, and that's the one thing I missed about him. And now seeing his character now, yeah, he has the same old shtick when he comes out there and talks to Stephanie, and but it's like, and also seeing him on Total Divas is like a complete polar opposite. But regardless of that, I would rather him be a man and seeing him break and build himself back up. Like, and I guess the one match that came close to that was WrestleMania 28 with him versus The Rock. Seeing him on the ramp defeated just shows me that, oh my gosh, they're gonna actually make Cena real. They're gonna make him feel instead of being a machine.
Yeah, they had the chance and they wouldn't do it.
And they wouldn't do it then. And I'm hoping that in that next year it will be different. I'm hoping that next year that they're not going to rely so much on their legends. That they're actually going to promote those in NXT and let them be themselves, not reinvent them like they did with Paige. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that because that just makes me angry. But the thing is that let them be themselves and not reinvent them. Let them be the characters that they built themselves up to be at NXT and allow themselves to be part of the future and take the legends off the table unless for certain occasions. I'm hoping that'll be the case. I'm hoping that TNA will come back and make a resurgence next year on a new network. I'm hoping that that'll be the case because let's be real, some of these wrestlers that are on there now will probably not make it to WWE. Probably a handful will. But besides all that, they had something different that TNA that WWE didn't. Not only did they have a bit of heart, they weren't afraid to be different. Especially with a six-sided ring, especially with the knockout steel cage matches, even with the whole funny shtick that they had with ODB and Eric Young being the knockouts tag team champions. They even had that funny shtick for a while. They were not afraid to be different, and I'm hoping that they will actually come back next year. And as for as for the network itself, Oprah started off small. When she did Own was struggling for a while, but then now Own is out of the red and into the black. So it could be the case with the network. And as for the whole repetition of it being $9.99, as tiring and as annoying as it is, I really think that maybe the content is going to improve. I really believe that they're going to actually start seeing a lot more return, but they have to change their tune when it comes to some of the shows. Take themselves out of it, stop gloating, and just put in the content that people want to see, as well as the non-doctored, unedited, no holds barred matches that they have as part of the archive. Don't doctor the music. Don't doctor the match. At least they have Chris Benoit to be part of them. That's they're halfway there, but they really do need to just have it as the original content, and they'll go far. So for me personally, I'm actually looking towards a hopeful future for the entire wrestling business, and I don't think it's going to completely disintegrate and burn and burn into ash. I really think that they're going to probably, build back up and maybe become better. I'm just going to think of that in a positive light. And we're actually
Well, let's hope so.
well, right now we actually went over. We're actually an hour, so we went to an hour and 41 minutes. So we probably need to stop here. But
Yeah,
but
but just to tell the viewers, that's how it always is with me and Nature Girl.
yeah, this is
What
how
the
we
first time
roll.
we ever talked? The first time we ever talked, we talked for 12 hours.
Yeah, yeah. That's the first time we ever
So
talk ever. That's how we roll. We usually talk for 12 hours, but we're not trying to make it that way because let's be real, it'll be like 3 or 4 days before YouTube is ever able to upload this. But I do want to thank Mr. Griffin for being a part of this audio. Dude, you're awesome. And for those that have not seen his channel, definitely check his channel out. I will put the link for his channel in the description box. So you guys check it out. He does have really great discussions as well as great responses to other videos. And he also does a lot of great wrestling video topics as well. So definitely check him out. Mr.
yeah,
Griffin, thank you
I
so
will
much for
warn
being a
you
part of
though.
this audio. But he is going to I'm going to let him say his warning.
Okay. And thank you for inviting me. I will warn you, if click and go to my channel, Nature Girl 30 for the most part keeps her stuff PG or even G rated. Me, I tend to lean more on TV 14.
I would
So
say
all I
R.
gotta say is, if you're the kind that gets offended easily or gets all hot on certain topics, you may want to avoid some of my videos on my channel, or maybe not subscribe to the channel. But if that doesn't bother you, or you just want to hear another perspective, click away and subscribe.
I wouldn't say PG-13. You're being a little bit. I wouldn't even say TV-14. I would say for
I
you
said,
R. It's R. You're pretty much R, man. Like you're R all the way.
yeah, like when I'm doing stuff like this, I tend to tone it down because I want to respect other people's channel. But yeah, on my own, yeah, I'm pretty much TV 14 to just flat out R. So
Especially for the
at
last
times,
topic
so
video that you did about that chick and the dog, but we won't go into that.
yeah, oh boy.
Yeah, we won't get into that, but thank you guys for listening to this audio. I will leave the link to Mr. Griffin's
All right,
video down
I'm
below.
gonna
Thank you,
get off
Mr.
of here
Griffin.
anyway.
Thank you, y'all, for listening. Peace out.